semafungiro angu chechi yange yakakosha asi kumayouth chechi ndokuwanikwa ichatiwanisa matambudziko akawandisa ofichi kumayouth tikaenda kumachechi ndokwazara mahypocrite ndokwazara mhombwe maelders ndokuya kuchipimba vana vechidiki vazhinji vacho vakuenda kuchechi havachaite kuti unyasi wabhilivha kuti vanhu vanoenda kuchechi because vazhinji vacho vari kupretenda vachingoenda kuchechi asi wese ari kuenda kuchechi achinomira pane vanhu achiparidza achidii ari munhu wechechi chaichai hatichazive kuti mumwe munhu ari kuendera kuchechi chii.
I'm going to be discussing the question, is church relevant for the youth of today? So my answer to this question is that yes, church is relevant. At church we find guidance in a lot of things that we do. It might be dressing, it might be form of eating, it might be even work ethics as well. If you look at church, there are teachings that we get from church that we cannot get from anywhere else, that guide a youth to be a human, like a real relevant person in society.
Ya ini ndinoona chechi yakanaka nekuti inotidzoreredza pamafambiro nemagariro edu, nekuti ndokwatinodzidza zvakawanda kubva mushoko kutirayirira kumafambiro edu kuti ave akarurama, tisafamba zvisina kururama pamagariro nemaitiro. Saka ndinoona kunamata kwakanaka nekuti ndokunotirayiridza padombo regare ratakakura tichiziva kuti nevakuru edu vachitidzidzisa zvakanaka. Saka ndinoti ndo mafungiro angu iyayo.
Welcome to young people. This is a platform where young people talk about issues that affect them as young people, and they're also representing other young people from all over the world. And today we are joined by three beautiful young ladies who are our guests today, all the way from Jamaica, the Foster triplets. We can clap hands for them. So, today we want to talk about something that I know is very passionate to young people, the church. You are passionate about the church. So, the question is church still relevant to young people in today's generation? Because we see that a church that has got young people is a church that grows and a church that flourishes. But alas, we are seeing that there are some young people who seem they're no longer interested in coming to church. And we don't know what is happening to young people. And so we are saying there must be something the church must do to nurture young people, to keep young people in church. So we are here to ask you as young people, what would an ideal church for you look like? What would be an ideal church to you look like? And what does church really mean to you as young people?
Right, thank you so much. I'd like to believe that church is supposed to be, first and foremost, more like an extended family.
Okay.
Like that's where you get parents who are not your parents, even siblings who are not your siblings. It's supposed to stimulate spiritual growth. Whereby, once you go to church, by the time you come back home, you should feel like you've grown spiritually, even socially, even psychologically. Learn from seeing others.
An extended family.
The ideal church for me would be a place where I can relax and be rejuvenated. I've been working throughout the whole week, and I just want a place where I get motivation from during on a Sabbath. A place where I have made a mistake and I can trust one of the fathers there to guide me on the mistake I've made, and then I solve that issue without having the rest of the church asking me questions.
So a safe place for you to make mistakes and get guidance from adults. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I like to think that a church is a place where people go to worship God. Whether they are gathered as a small group or a bigger group, but that place should cater for our spiritual needs, our social needs, our emotional needs, and we should feel at home when we're at church.
Springboarding off what was said by this gentleman right here, he said that it is a place where you can get help to become better. The truth is that the church is more like a hospital because we are not perfect people. We're all coming to grow, to get better. And so it's the ideal church for me would be a place where it's non-judgmental, a place where we all recognize that we're not perfect and we're all sinners saved by grace.
Non-judgmental place. Your ideal church. Yes, Mako.
Just to add on to what my counterparts are saying, for me, I look at church as if we're in a war, which we are in, it's a barrack for soldiers where we can go and lick our wounds together and motivate each other to go back into the week and tackle the evil spirits of the devil.
So you're saying in the church everyone has got wounds. We are going there to lick our wounds and really feel comfortable. Okay.
To me, an ideal church is a church that is filled with the Holy Spirit. If the church is filled with the Holy Spirit, we're not going to have judgmental people. We're going to have people surrounding each other with love and care and supporting them and helping them to make the right decisions. If we have a spirit-filled church, we're going to have people who are witnessing more, who are motivated to go out into the communities and do outreach activities. If we have a spirit-filled church, more people will start to see the beacon that is set there, and they'll come toward that light because they recognize that these people are different. These people are God's people, and these people will not judge me for who I am or the past that I have, but they will take me in and they will treat me with the respect and love that the Lord has bestowed in their hearts to give me.
A place filled with people who are spirit-filled. Your ideal church. And what does church mean to you?
For me, I think church means everything. Yeah, and an ideal church for me is a place where I can go, and I know I will meet God, and not a place where I can go and there's competition. Not a place where I can go and there's some other things that are happening, but a place where I know I go, I meet God. When I am with God, I know I'm sorted.
You wanted to say something?
Yes.
You can go ahead and then you can come.
I also feel church should be my networking space. The first place I can say I'm now selling tomatoes and people support me from there, right? I have started a business and I get mentors from there. There are a lot of rich people, or rather people who can guide me, right? If I get a breakdown at midnight somewhere, the first person I think of should be someone from church, right? That's how convenient church should be as well, because life problems are also part of the church.
So adults out there, young people are saying a church should be a network. That's where I grow my business. I come up with a business idea. I get people in the church who help me to really realize my dream as an individual.
For me, my ideal church would be a place of healing. You know, we are broken inside, and I believe the church should be a place of healing.
A place of healing. Yeah?
Right. I think also my life partner is supposed to come from church.
Okay. Oh, your life partner should come from church.
So church is supposed to provide the love of my life.
It is supposed to provide. That's a good
I want
one.
to add from what Ronnie was saying, that church, Ronnie was is coming to address the point that the church should be a source of economic and social. Addressing that, I think God made a provision to create a system which can help people. When we're at church, we have got those who don't have their parents. Then we've got those who are lacking financially. We've got those who are lacking socially. So that's my opinion. It was in God's interest that He creates a provision as the earth is progressing. Due to sin, in the earth we've got a lot of discordance patterns of life. So church is now a provision where you can try to make perfection of socio-economical standards of life. So it's a place where someone who I come to church, I'll have a parent, spiritual parent, then that parent will become a parent. Okay. So if I don't have a mother, if my mother is is no more. Like I'm
You want to
I'm an
find
orphan.
solace
I'm
in the
an
church.
orphan, yeah.
Yeah.
So at church,
Yeah.
God made that provision that
Okay.
it's a one-stop shop.
Okay. So some people talk about church as a place that they want to go and enjoy. Mm? Is there any enjoyment? I am seeing a lot of spiritual solace, finding a life partner. Mm?
A church is actually supposed to be my happy place, where the activities that are happening there as a young person makes me happy. They make me forget about the issues that have been happening maybe during the week or out there in the world. I'm happy to be there. I can express myself. I can feel loved by yes, we understand that members in the church also are broken and stuff, but it's a place where broken people can actually help each other to feel loved. So it ought to be a happy place for me, a place where there is love.
Michael, what does church mean to you?
Church for ever since I was born was it was a focal point in my life. So ever since I could remember, I was at church, and I remember being surrounded by individuals who fostered my growth spiritually, as well as my social growth. I was painfully shy. I still am shy at sometimes. However, I was painfully shy, so much so that the first time three of us we had to turn our backs to the congregation. We were that scared. So we were singing, God will take care of you, and we had to turn our backs because we could not look at the congregation. And so our development, a major part of our development, started in church. Reading the scripture, praying, being invited up on a children's Sabbath to do something. All of that was part of my growth, and so church has been a means of a way of advancing me in different aspects of my life. As for church being a form of enjoyment for me, of course, church. I find enjoyment in going to church. It says the joy of the Lord is our strength. And once you are in direct contact with Him, once you spend time in His presence, of course you have to have that joy. And of course your mind has to be taking off things that happen in the week.
So church should be a place where one develops spiritually, and where it's a safe space for you to also learn and grow. This is good. Please don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to Young People. We are talking about the relevance of the church. Is church still relevant to young people today? And young people, before we went for the break, they were talking about lots of beautiful things that they were saying. They are really painting the correct picture in my understanding and in my view of the church. Place where you grow spiritually, where you create friends, where you learn, where you find parents, where you get solace, where we lick each other's wounds. Powerful points from young people. So my next question is, if church is like that to you, why is that many young people today are no longer finding church interesting? After the COVID, we saw that lots of young people, they did not come back to church. Some are telling you we are worshiping online, but you get to their homes, there is no online that they are worshiping on. What is driving the youth away from church? Why are youths leaving the church or finding it no longer interesting, yet with beautiful points about what church means to you? Yes.
Thank you for bringing up the COVID-19. Hey, it showed the strength or the picture we paint as a church, that we are loving community churches like this come. But in the COVID-19, no elder, no pastor, if they were, some maybe, but most never reached out to their congregants, except maybe there's a death of COVID-19. So to say why youth leaving the church is failing to address specific needs of the youth. For example, I'm struggling with sex addiction. This is my problem, right? When you stand in front and say fornication is wrong, but I'm struggling. What activities? What have you opened up to people who are addicts to sex? Have you opened up programs to people who are addicts of drugs? So this is when you fail to find that from the church, you leave the church because you believe that the church is a place of healing.
So young people are saying we are addicted to some things, but the church is not addressing that for us as young people. Okay?
Yeah, also I'm saying church is supposed to stimulate spiritual growth. But sometimes I feel like it's doing quite the opposite. Because there's some people that are looking up to as spiritual role models, and the things they were seeing are not so nice. Even some of the judgmental elements that we're having from adults in the church, just because you're a youth and you've dressed a certain way today, even the way they look at you says so much, and you're wondering, so where's the love in that? So you're so discouraged. That's why people end up going to other churches that are not this church. Because once they go to a different church, they're so welcomed. You've got your earrings, it's still fine. Come, let's worship God. You've got your haircut that's blue in the center. It's fine. At some point in time, I was in church, and the pastor preached about funny hairstyles. We had a visitor girl. She had blue braids or something. He specifically talked about it. She's a visitor. How does that seem? Even to the youth that are in the church, they also get discouraged.
Church is not judgmental. Okay?
The other thing is that church is boring. You bring out...
You mean as in boring?
As in boring. Like they give a preacher who is there on the pulpit and yes, we're not supposed to sleep in church, but the way he's speaking, it's actually it's a sleeping tablet to us. The group which is invited to sing for us, it's like they've been forced to come and sing. So remember, we are living in a world where if you get in a combi, if you get in public transport, the music that is being played there, it's vibrant. It's people who are enjoying themselves. And then you get to church and it's like the preacher is forced to preach. The PA system really is not working. Things are not really organized. So church becomes a place where you are asking yourself, are these people really interested in these things? And also the other thing is the youth are not given the platform to express themselves. There are good singers who are youth. There are people who are youth who can preach, but they're not given the platforms. Only the elders who are known are the same preachers over and over again.
And youth want to preach also, but they're not given the platform. Okay.
To be honest, for many of us, we've lost the reason, or there's no constant reminder of why we are going to church. This is why you fail to find a reason. I know what vegetables are in my life. This is why I eat them, whether I like them or not, right? But at church, what is trending is the controversies that are happening amongst the elders, the pastors. We are worshiping certain people in the church, and that is all that we know. What we know about church today is so-and-so has bought a new car, so-and-so is the one who sponsored this program, and we've lost the actual reason why you go to church. The only time you are looked for a church is maybe when there are chairs that need to be carried, but they don't even know how you're doing at work, right? It's not a problem to carry chairs, but that is when I become relevant at church. Yeah.
So young people are in church to just carry the chairs and dust the church, yeah?
I think in general, one of the reasons why youth are leaving, there are other factors around, as was said by these lovely people. But in addition, we've lost sight of why we go to church, which is God. If your eyes were on God, you'd probably stop seeing the persons who are trying to discourage you. If your eyes, there will be times where you feel discouraged, but the more your eyes stay on God, the less the things around you matter. And so there was this analogy. You're carrying this cup and it's full and you're trying not to spill it. If you look around you and you don't focus on the cup, of course you're going to spill it. But when you focus on the cup that you're carrying, focusing on the steps that you're taking, everything around you fades away. So the youth's focus, we must try to point them back to God.
So there might be a lot of rot around you.
Yes.
But there is no rot in front where Christ is.
Exactly.
And it's not all bad, is it?
No.
Marco, then I'll come to you. And I'll come to you, okay?
Sorry, your question was, why are the youth leaving the church?
Yes, why are the youth leaving the church?
The youth are leaving the church because of many reasons. And just to add on to what Ronald had said, I can give an example of vegetables. We are now going to church because we're looking for fun. We don't eat vegetables because they taste nice. We eat them because they help us. And church, among other reasons, it helps us. So when you're now sitting in a line to get tested for HIV, you will think about church. When you are now a wounded soldier, you will think about church and you will go back to church. So maybe the approach that the church has been using is still the same as it was when the fundamentals were set aside. But now the devil is using other methods to get the youth out of the church. So maybe the church should now develop new methods of getting the youth back into the church before they are wounded.
So we want also to hear from you as young people, what methods can the church develop to make sure that it is not a place where wounded people who come to die, because I believe God still wants people who are fresh, who are strong, who are healthy, to finish his work, not just the wounded. Huh?
In my view, I think church is a spiritual institute. That's a factor. And spiritually, things are spiritually descended. So that's the other hard aspect of why the youths are leaving the church. We are now becoming too carnal, right? So we cannot sit to enjoy a 1 hour sermon,
Okay.
and our prayer life. We
It's
can't
too
pray.
serene.
Yeah, we can't read the Bible. We cannot actually follow the chapter reading of the day. We're used to watch these fictitious fast movies. So me reading the Bible is like old school. And the way maybe the Isaiahs, the old prophets were writing the Bible and their description of the things that were happening back then and the things that we are seeing of these lights, these robots, these fast cars, these good iPhones, somehow gets the church to something that is kind of old school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the church is sort of like going to out school. Make it snappy.
All right.
Yeah.
So I want to say that in a church, we've got different types of people. You are talking of spirituality.
Okay.
But for someone to come to church, they've seen something. The Samaritan woman wouldn't have gone to church if Jesus didn't meet her.
Okay.
Mary Magdalene would not have worshipped at the feet of Jesus if Jesus had not said, "He who has no sin, let him cast the first stone." So we might want to buttress and say spirituality, but the church has to do something to keep the young people.
I wanted to say that there is, from some book that I've read, it says that Christ's method alone, and then there is a phrase which said he would seek their good. Imagine I'm very spiritual, but the minute that I get to church, the question that I'm asked from the gate, so when are you getting married? So which car do you drive? So what do you do in life? So like I'm already discouraged. Yes, when I was coming from home, everything was okay. I was spiritual and all. But you are not seeking my good. You are looking at the negatives in me. And for the youth to then come back to a church where you are just discouraged left, right, and center with the questions that people ask. So you broke up with so-and-so. How could you leave such a holy man and
who are the culprits in questioning you, young people?
It's adults especially who think they now have succeeded in life. Who think that they are somewhere in life, actually discourage the young people, and the young people then decide not to come to church. They'll do their worship at home, online services, for their own peace, for their mental health.
The church, young people are saying the church has become like a classroom where there are many questions that are asked, especially by adults who have made it in life. And the most of the questions are, when are you getting married? And young people are feeling very uncomfortable in the church. Please don't go away. We will be right back. Welcome back to Young People. We are talking about the church, its relevance to young people in today's generation. So before we went for break, because we want to call in parents now, but there are two youths who wanted to say something.
Yes, what we find is that some of the efforts of the church to keep youth in the church actually pushes them away. When we invite certain types of music into the church and say, it's okay, you can dress that way, it actually pushes them towards the world instead, and we find them leaving because the church becomes too close to the world.
The church is becoming too close to the world. Listen to that. Adults out there, the church is becoming too close to the world.
So on my second encounter of coming to church, before I got baptized, I decided to bring my cousin along, and we didn't know how to dress. She wore a string top, right? And the minute we got to the gate, two ladies walked up to her and put a cloth on her.
Two mothers.
Two mothers.
Okay.
And they say to her, don't come here to try and steal our husbands away. This is someone in high school, right? Of course, she's developed, but she didn't know.
So we are welcoming mothers now who are representing other mothers with this in mind. Don't come in here to steal our husbands. Welcome, mothers. Welcome to Young People Say. Please take seats. So you are coming in right on time. Dr. Shinoperikwe, welcome. And Mrs. Foster, welcome. Young people are talking about the church, whether it's still relevant to young people in this generation. And we are going to speak from the last comment that came from one young person, where mothers are being blamed, that they are asking about, when are you getting married? And one of the two mothers said to one 13-year-old that we are coming to church to steal our husbands. So young people are saying church is no longer interesting. They're leaving the church because they are blaming adults. And top on the list are mothers. What do you say about it? As parents, you need to respond.
Firstly, I must say that a church without young people is a dying church. And this is the life of the church. As young people, they come in with a lot of energy. And as older members, our job is to get them busy. Because when they're busy doing God's work, then God has his way of speaking to them. I think I missed out on the question that you had asked, so if you can just repeat that.
Okay, so there young people are saying mothers, right? They are talking a lot in church, telling these young people, when are you getting married? When are you going to change your car? Who is your boyfriend? And one young person said, mother said to his sister, 13-year-old, because she was dressing in a certain way, you are coming to church, they're putting a wrapper around, they're coming to church to take our husbands away from us. And the girl never returned to church.
I must apologize on behalf of those members who did it. Many times the reality is the church is the hospital, and many of those people in the church, they need Jesus just as the ones who are coming in. So unfortunately, they cause that harm. So the reality is, many of us are mature and we are still going, but there are others who are there who have not yet been converted. So as young people, sometimes you're going to meet those people in the church. And as one person mentioned, just keep your eyes focused.
So you met the wrong mother, but she's a mother in the church. There are the good mothers in the church. So as mothers, what kept you in the church is parents. What kept you in the church? As parents and as adults, what is really keeping you and what kept you in the church?
For myself, I would say the church for me is a moral compass. If you are traveling at sea and you do not have a compass, you get lost. We all need something which stays us somewhere, which directs us towards somewhere. And for me, that is the church. Not only is it a moral compass, but it teaches me so much more. How to dress, how to interact. And it actually also helps in terms of even my health. So you'll find that when you do not have anyone that you rely on, that you can unburden onto, if you do not believe in Christ, in Jesus, then your emotional problems get bigger and you get ultimately lost.
One of the things that kept me in church was that I was always busy. busy ensuring
Busy.
that an elderly person who needed food had food. I was busy learning things in the Bible because I wanted to grow. So I was just busy doing God's work and feeding myself spiritually. And if in Jamaica, one of the delicious meals to have is rice and peas, right? Now, if I want to learn how to cook rice and peas, no disrespect, but I would not go to, I wouldn't come to Doc here for rice and peas because one, she's not a Jamaican. Two, do you know how to cook rice and peas? What I need to do, I find persons who are doing it well and I learn from them so that I can be better.
So I'll ask young people a question, and I want two people to respond. Then the parents will respond to your responses. So what can keep you in church as young people? What do you think can keep you in church as young people? So that the parents can respond whether it's a good thing or not. What will keep you in church? To make it snappy, you answer, and you answer.
Activities that are relevant to me, learning something new, like she mentioned things to do with cooking. A young lady who's aspiring to get married, I need to learn how to cook. So if there are cooking lessons, I'll be there. If there are healthy lessons on how to be healthy, let's say in this world there are drugs out there, in order to get rid of addictions and stuff. If there are such programs in church, I'll stay in church.
What can keep you in church?
What can keep me in church?
Yeah.
The first thing is not depending wholly on the church to find activities for me, because sometimes the church might lack in that department. So my job is to focus on staying on the right and narrow path. So what I need to do is find recreational activities. Say I want to learn how to play volleyball, I go and play volleyball. If I need to help those who are in need, I go and find someone in need. Don't wait for the church to care to you.
Activities for me. What can keep you in church?
I would say it's not the campus that the doctor was talking about. We go to church for different reasons. So when the church addresses or is friendly to me, addresses my needs, maybe have a question and answer segment for the youth, or just write your, what you call those boxes that we have and then unite. So that's when I will make Christ my campus. We don't even go to church. Some of us didn't go to church because we wanted Christ. We just accidentally found ourselves in church.
What can keep you in church, Marco? Quickly.
I cannot blame the church for my own damnation. On Judgment Day, the Lord do not ask me what the church did or did not do. It is up to me and me only. So maybe the church needs to know what I'm doing in those 6 days that I'm not at church and find a way to get me back into church.
Mothers, who do you want to respond?
Those are all salient points. But the reality too is, as a church, we have to embrace our young people and of a truth, find ways of getting them involved in things. And this is one of the good ways we are seeing young people expressing themselves. So having them expressing themselves and being in the fore, putting them out there. We have lay preachers, we have junior deacons, just get them involved.
And they are saying they also want to talk about their own activities. They want to bring them to the church. Is that welcome from your perspective as mothers for you to say, we are bringing in our activities?
For me, I would say, first and foremost, I would say you are the church as an individual. But we come together to help each other alone, because one man alone can find the road really difficult. But we are together to help each other. Then the question is, how then do we remain together? And yes, it may be necessary to include some activities, but that is not the sole purpose of the church, that we are an activity church. No. Those are components that are added onto the basics or the foundation of being a church.
That's right.
In a few minutes, I think we've got 2 minutes. Do you have any young person who has got a burning question that they want to ask the mothers? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm realizing that as youth, we're now aware of so much. So it was seeing what these elders are doing, the church is getting it wrong. Is there where you can help us now to say, as youth, this is how you address the church? If you know the church is going wrong, how do you help them? How do we help the church
Good
to
question.
move in the right direction?
Good question. Yes,
The
ma'am.
first step for us as church, as older ones, is to understand that we are not perfect. And we have to be willing to encourage you to speak. And when you are correct, we need to accept it and say, okay, we got this wrong. Be honest and open. We got this wrong. Can you help us to do it right?
Yes, and I would also say, as a church yourself, you have a right and a duty to expose, to say things. And as parents, as elders, we are there to guide your hands and to help you along.
Yes.
So you have a role, such a huge role to play in the church.
So mothers are saying, don't keep quiet. Where we go wrong, tell us, help us. We are also willing to listen, because there are good points and good things which can come from young people. We'll be right back. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Young People. We are discussing or talking about the relevance of the church to the young people of today. And before we went for the short break, young people were talking with the parents, with the mothers. And they got very good counsel from mothers. And also mothers apologized where they saw that they had erred as mothers in terms of their associations with young people in the church. At this juncture, I want to welcome the pastors to come through and help answer some of the questions that young people do have, because the pastors are the ones who are the leaders of the what? Of the church. Welcome, the pastors. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, Pastor Dr. Mzengi.
Thank you very
And
much.
welcome, Pastor Mtimwi.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are right on time for a topic that is very much relevant and which requires your responses as pastors. So we're talking about the church, whether it's still relevant to young people in this generation. And young people, I know that you listened to some of their responses that they were giving. So we want to ask you as pastors, how are your churches growing? And how are you making the church relevant for both young people and adults? That's the first question. And as you're answering that one, the other second question that we have for you as pastors is, young people are coming up with very interesting activities that they want to do in the church. They're coming up with interesting ideas, what to make church exciting for them. And when they bring that to the pastors, to the church, there is a lot of bureaucracies that happens, a lot of examination and telescopic looks that go on through the church boards, and some of their ideas, they get discarded and young people are not happy. So we want you to respond to that. How can you make church relevant for young people?
Thank you very much. What I may want to say first is that the church comprises of those who are selected, elected, and picked out by God from the world. So they are there to be the light of the world, the salt of the earth. And church is not really a building.
Okay.
Church is about you and your life.
Mm-hmm.
The view that is there today is that you go to church to be recharged. And then you get your battery full. And then after that, you go back home, spend a week, and then the battery is depleting. And then you go back to church to refill the battery. Yet that's not the idea of church. Actually, when you go to church, your battery is supposed to be full. You are not going to church empty. You are going there full. And you are not going there to get, but to give. So the idea of the church in a physical sense is like that of a hospital. An ideal church
must be full of people who have a lot of makeup, who have these mini skirts, people who are sick. If I come to church and all people are dressed well and everything is nice and good, it's not an ideal church.
But Pastor,
church is
young people are saying the church is there, but church is you as adults. It's not us, but what we are getting is what is coming from the adults, not our contributions. Can you respond to that? Because they're saying now it's not relevant to us. It looks like it's relevant to you as adults.
Yes, I think our apology on that perspective. But as for me, I take church as a family where there are parents and their children. So as is the church. So if in a family we find all these people, parents and children, compatible or compatibility is there. If it's compromised, then probably it's not an ideal family, but church is a family.
So you're saying it should be relevant? You are saying it's relevant?
Young children are relevant in a family.
And the activities the church is coming up with are relevant for the young people? It's
Yes.
that they are not seeing it, but they are relevant. Okay. Young people, can you ask questions? Ask the pastors questions. They are saying church is still relevant. You are very valuable in the church. Yes.
So, pastors, how is the church relevant to me when, what is the church doing to address my marital needs? I'm 45, single, unmarried. Since you're saying it's relevant, then what is the church doing to help a 45-year-old single woman like me to be married?
We'll take another question and the pastors will answer.
I wanted to ask that on the issue of activities, you are given 2 weeks to prepare for a presentation. You are told that you will be the one who is presenting Divine on the Youth Day, and you're given 2 weeks to prepare the presentation. But then when you're about to get into the church, Dr. Mzengi then arrives, and the elders go your aside and say, now the doctor has arrived, so he's the one who's going to preach.
He has got a sermon that has been prayed for?
Yes.
Okay.
How am I active in church like that?
Pastors, you can respond to those two, then we'll take more.
Look at the woman, the Samaritan woman in John chapter 4, who went to the well to get water. And then she encounters Jesus. The well is like church. It was church to her. She got what she needed from the well, that is water. But Jesus says to her, I want to bring church to your home so that you don't have to walk this long distance coming to get water. So Jesus wants to take church from church to your home so that your home becomes the church. And your home now, when it becomes the church, he meets your needs there. When you go to church, you are going not to get something, because Jesus would have already given you the material in your home.
So Pastor, we are saying they can't get husbands at the church? Because that's the question. Pastor, I need a husband. I'm 45 years old. What are you doing as a church to make sure that I get a husband?
Actually, that woman was looking for a husband. But that was not her real need. Many a times we don't know what we really need. What we need in life is the Holy Spirit. And then the Holy Spirit will direct us to a good husband, to a good wife, and other things like that. So if you go to church to be in a relationship with God, he can then give you other things. The church becomes boring because we are busy with our own things during the week, and we are detached from God. So we only think that God is there in our lives one day. He's supposed to be there 24/7.
Okay, so don't go to church to look for husbands. God will provide. Get filled by the Holy Spirit. Yes, Pastor
I
Mtini?
wanted to come in as for what programs are there, packed and packaged for me.
And also, please remember to answer a question. The pastors are coming to take the pulpit from the youths.
Yes, programs are there, and at times they are not done satisfactorily. It is also the role of the young people to come and educate. If you want to address challenges of the youth, may it be done this way. Let them educate these old cadres.
Okay, so Pastor, please don't run away from the question. Answer. Is it biblical for a pastor to come and say, you're not preaching because I am at church now?
It's not biblical, but it's a role of the pastor to feed his church. And where pastors are assigned to a church, a single church, it is his role.
To feed.
Remember, we function, the body, the hands, and all. It is the role of the head to think.
So young people, pastors are saying, we'll take the pulpit when we come because it's our role to feed. So we take 2 more questions.
We have actually made a mistake sometimes as pastors.
Okay.
If someone is given a sermon to preach, let's say maybe in 2 weeks' time you are going to preach, and then I just pitch up and say I am taking over. It's a mistake. It's
an
wrong.
abuse.
It's an abuse because I'm supposed to be part and parcel of the planning.
Okay.
So that the church knows when
I'm coming as the pastor.
If I come and there is a youth preaching, I should respect them. Let them preach.
And listen.
I should also listen.
Amen.
If they go astray,
I'll go to you, and then I'll take another question from where? In the back there. Okay, go ahead. Make it snappy.
Yes, I just wanted to answer your question in regards to what the church is doing in terms of marriage. In Jamaica, just adding a cultural perspective, we have what is called Singles Convention, where it's an every year program where singles come together and they get uplifting sermons, but also, although it's not said, it is also a big dating area where it's supervised, but people are able to meet like-minded persons. So it's if that's not something practiced here, it's something you could think of.
So we have got silver clubs here in Zimbabwe and youth camps. So the young people, you have got places where you can be able to go and look. You had a question quickly.
Okay, quickly, a rebuttal to saying they've got programs for youth. The church, we came meeting last week. The same lessons that are for adults were the same lessons for the youth. Literally.
It was the spirit of prophecy for everyone?
For everyone, mark of the beast, principles of marriage, church governance. And then my question now, okay, that's what I'm saying, the church needs to do something about that. And then my question now is aren't you becoming like the Pharisees as church leaders and elders? You remember, the church was looking towards the coming of Jesus. But Jesus actually did come. But they didn't see it, that he's here. We're supposed to be looking towards the second coming of Jesus. How preparing are we? Aren't we missing the mission of the church?
Okay. So, Pastor Mtimu, you are going to comment and close. Lessons are the same. Marriage, mark of the beast, to everyone at camp meeting. You are not happy about it. Can you respond as you are wrapping up?
It is
quickly
good.
To the point.
It is good that we have lessons together with parents, like for example the marriage one. We wanted parents to learn how the youth are doing it these days, and the youth to learn how parents did it in their time, and then complete the statement. It is good if the church comes up with a lesson which they want the whole church membership to learn. It is good that we do it together. We walk the road together.
In closing, the church and its relevance to young people, just in one sentence.
Basically, every Sabbath is an indicator of your preparedness to meet the Lord at his second coming. So if you find the Sabbath boring and not giving you life, it also means and it indicates that you will not be happy to go to heaven. If you can't stay with Christ for 24 hours, how will you be able to spend eternity with him? Friday, they say, is the preparation day, preparing you to get into the Sabbath. But if the Sabbath finds you unprepared, it shows that you are not going to be prepared for his second coming.
Thank you.
So we go to church, but it's not the divine service hour that is most important. It's all the 24 hours. So
thank you, Pastor.
I don't go to church to have my needs met, but I go there to help someone, to bring someone who needs salvation, because I'm already saved.
Thank you, Dr. Pastor Mzengi and Pastor Mtimwi. They were elaborating on the issues that the young people have been talking about on the church and its relevance. And it's very clear that young people have got issues. They want the church, they want the adults to relook programming of activities in the church so that it becomes interesting for young people, so that it becomes nurturing for young people, so that they can be able to contribute and feel that they are important in the house of the Lord. And this is what the pastors were responding to. As much as we are coming to the church, participate in programming. Tell the adults what you want done in the church to make it interesting for you. And when the young people do that, let us be prepared as adults and as pastors and as elders to listen to young people and consider them. This is Young People Say. We promise to come back next time with more topics and more interesting discussions around issues that affect young people. It's from me, yours truly, Tete Makove. Thank you.
Sokora kanaka murese pasi kuti vanhu vese ngaridzweni uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda unouya nasi uya pinda pamusiwo wazarurirwa Jesu ndiye nzira yeidiyega uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda dawiraini uyo unoda tiwirange izwi uyo unoda upenyu darini uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda tumasoko pagomonemikana baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda baba wadikanwa ari kudaidza uyo unoda